informing us that we're not producing our show correctly.
Ryan, the producer, right?
No, but hey, listen, you know, other people are like, maybe they just didn't feel like showing their faces, but
well,
thank you, Brian.
Video, you know, so
I know, actually, you know, Brian, do not whatever Kieran says. I appreciate it because I
appreciate everything
on.
everybody says, even when they call me home.
You know, I'm all about good production values if you can, anyways.
I agree.
So.
I concur, Brian. Well, thank you, and you
Let's
know,
get back to
we
doing
hope to hear from you
skit.
again. You know, we were wondering where you went.
Just
so.
because we're not on the GFQ network anymore doesn't mean we don't still like to hear from you, Brian.
That's right.
No, I think, you know, what happens is you guys kind of like sometimes your show kind of goes in different directions and everything else, and it's just
just like this phone call. All right, he's gone.
We went into a different direction there, Brian.
Yeah, no, it's fine, Brian. It's fine. He just, you know, what he's trying to.
Can't. I don't understand what he was saying there. I was actually interested in what
he
was saying.
doesn't like some of that stuff we talk about. So
he just turns it off. He doesn't have to listen to us, or he doesn't have to like. I'm sure people just turn it off, and I'm like, you know, talking about stupid stuff, you know. By the way, Tony Stewart had a bad day. Do you know that? Did you see that yesterday?
What's that? That's the thing.
Yeah, Tony Stewart. Then when we went to Watkins
Glen
with Race Car Johnny.
Race Car Johnny. I'm just gonna repeat everything you said.
And we were talking to Race Car Johnny. He like call coming in.
Nice.
This is your guy, probably.
Yeah, I hope so. Hello, Greg.
Yeah, this is Greg.
Hey, Greg. It's Adam and Kieran from Lunatic Radio.
Hey guys, how are you?
Great. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Listen, man, it's all on this side, man. Thank you for calling in. So
my pleasure.
We spent the last segment, you know, getting some people acquainted with it, with the app,
Right.
letting them know what it's all about. And you know,
All
I've been
right.
using the app for a couple years now, and
Awesome.
it's a lot. It's great, man. You know, I'm not much of
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not much of a Facebook user, but it's a kind of nice little social, you know, media app, but with something that I really enjoy, which is beer. So
Exactly right. I mean, you know, you don't want pictures of babies and all that stuff you see on Facebook all the time. Let's just focus on some good stuff, and that's what we're all about.
See, I talked to Karen. I was like, we'll know pretty quickly if this guy is on our page or not. And you exactly said what we said last segment about the baby pictures. So we know we're on the same page together.
We are a little bit worried that you were just going to talk about code and all that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, come on now. I mean, you know, I am married, so I guess that means that I do have a life at some point. So.
Right. So I kind of want to, you know, and I'm going to try to not be like a fanboy in this conversation. This is actually a rare conversation we're having. Hold on, let me get to my point here. This is a rare interview. Like usually we interview comedians and musicians and such that we both like, but don't, you know, really have like super interaction with. But, you know, I use your app a lot. So I'm going to try to keep these questions.
I'll disagree with you when we interview porn stars. I have a lot of interaction with them.
Fair enough. All right, so Greg, I figure the easiest thing to do is just start from the beginning, I guess, with you. And,
Sure.
and how did the app come about, and like what's your history with Tim?
Sure, yeah. So Tim and I are co-founders of the application. Tim is based in Los Angeles. I'm based in New York City. So basically, you know, how it all started about summer of 2010. Tim and I were talking about the check-in, and you know, Foursquare was very prevalent in the check-in space. Everyone was checking in, but to be honest with you, it got to this point where we wanted to add more to the check-in. So, you know, no one really cares if you're checking into a supermarket or the post office. They want to know what you're actually doing at those locations. So, you know, we thought about industries that are very social, but never really social on the web. And beer was one of the first things that came to mind because, you know, we all go out, have fun, drink with friends, be very social, but there wasn't really any like Facebook or Twitter of beer online. And that's kind of where Untappd meant to, you know, plug that hole of being able to, you know, provide the whole check-in thing that was very popular and still is, and then allow you guys to, you know, communicate with each other, drink socially, as our tagline would say, and, you know, discover new beers and new places. That's kind of how it all started in a nutshell. And I will tell you, my co-founder, Tim, mentioned the idea to me. I said, Tim, no one's going to use this, man. This is going to be a waste. You know, maybe our close friends.
Right.
You know, my mother-in-law or something, and that's about it. So, but you know, but it turned out I was completely wrong, very wrong actually, because I'm on a talk show talking to people that I don't know, and you guys heard of it. So obviously it worked at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know, that's kind of how it all started.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
How many years has the app been available?
Yeah, because I only caught on about 2 years ago. How long have you been guys doing this?
We launched the app in October 2010, so we're closing we're close to about 4 years this October of the app being out there. So it's been about 4 years. And the funny thing is that we're actually only a 2-man operation. So it's just myself and Tim and really nobody else. We all do this on the side. We do this as a part-time gig as well. We all have full-time jobs as well. So it's definitely a labor of love, but it's also really fun as well.
Yeah, you know what? I could speak to that because I noticed there's a big support forum, and it's literally just these two guys. And the crazy part is that I posted a question, and I think Greg answered it within like the hour, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, we can't respond to like viewer emails for like a week or something. And meanwhile, these guys are just and that is just, I get it, man. A labor of love, man. It's incredible. It's just really just you two. Even on that support end, it's just you two guys.
It's actually just me. I'm the supporter. I mainly take care of that. So I'm responsible for answering all the questions there. But, it all starts from, my roots are a developer, right? I built the application, and Tim does all the graphics and the UI and stuff like that for the badge artwork and stuff like that. So, I've always been that person where, you're working on a project or something, and you email one of the big companies like Microsoft or Facebook or Google, and it just goes into a queue and nobody ever reads it, right? And I never wanted to, if I ever started a company, I never wanted to be that way. I wanted to be as open as possible and talk to people and really, just be a regular person. You guys who talk to me, I can talk to you, and kind of keep it open so they're all in the same community. So it's kind of lame, but that's just the way I feel about it, and I think it works pretty well.
Oh, no, it's fantastic. And, one thing that stands out to me is there's so much data on that site. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even have the full extent. I'm just so much information. And the one thing that I just always found, I just don't know how it would work, and maybe give a little insight without digging too deep, is how does all that information get updated, like the ABV content or even like the brewery information? Where does all that information come from?
Yeah, when we first started on Tap, we just had a basic database that we found online that was open source, and it was about 5,000 beers in the database. Pretty much all the generic stuff that you see everywhere you go these days, all the macro beers were already in there. And then we let the users add their own beers that we didn't have. So as of today, we have around 300,000 beers in the database right now. 295,000 have all been uploaded by users. So that's great because it gives us the opportunity to get new beers in there. But also, as problems with duplication, problems with incorrect data. So we have actually a team of moderators that are volunteers that come in from all over the world to help us clean up the database in terms of add the right information, and merge the duplicates. We also have breweries that can claim their own page on Untappd as well, and they can also update, upload labels, update information. So it keeps it all clean, like a Wikipedia-style entry system. So it helps, keep data fresh, keep it new, and accurate too at the same time.
Yeah, and as a user, it's great because you can find out so much information about each beer, and then obviously the user ratings helps when I'm at the store and I see some beers like, oh, I want to know what people kind of think of this, of this beer, and get a general idea of things. And great way to get information for sure.
Exactly, and the funny thing around that whole point is that there are many beer review sites out there that do similar things. But when we first started on Tap, we wanted to be very simple, almost like the Twitter review system for beer. We didn't want you to write, 3-paragraph essays on why this beer is the most amazing beer you've ever had. We wanted to be more concise and to the point, so someone that could actually look at that and say, hey, this guy knows what I'm talking about, or this girl knows what I'm talking about. I like this beer, and go forward with that process. So that's why we kind of implemented a simple review, 5 stars, and and the simple 140 character reviews to make it more entertaining. We hear a lot of people say to us that hey, I'm out with my friends, I don't want to be buried in my phone all night. Sometimes I do that anyways, but I for me, I end up just I think the 140 characters kind of set the mood and kind of force you to be concise and empty your check-in and kind of close the phone and get back to social setting, so it helps a lot.
I gotta say, it's the only way, being a 35-year-old man, that I could get away with taking pictures of things. Because I'm like, hey man, it's for my beer app. You gotta leave me alone.
It's funny. It's funny. I go to a few festivals throughout the year, and we always, sometimes my wife will go with me, and we'll have people come to the booth. So it'll be like a husband and a wife, and the husband's like all excited. He loves Untappd, and the wife's giving me this evil eye. I'm like, oh, I know this one. This wife hates me because I'm the one that created this app. At the dinner table, he does not pay attention to her anymore because he's just checking in on tap to take pictures of his beer. So I have to apologize. And my wife's, obviously part of the Untapped Women's group, and she helps me with those situations with those things. But it's quite funny, people love to use the application, obviously always in moderation, but it's good stories that you hear all around the table.
What I had some.
No. I was just wondering how much time, like on a daily basis, how much time are you devoting towards Untapped? Because
it's a lot. I mean, it's hard to keep track of sometimes. I think when you're so kind of invested and you're so passionate about what you're building, and you really feel like, the stuff that you're doing can impact a lot of people, and they really like it. I spend anywhere from in a given week around 30 to 40 hours a week. Wow. In addition to my full-time job working on Untapped and improving features and fixing bugs and support requests. I mean,
yeah.
It does seem like a lot. And, but I think, how much I love the interactions with people that use it is really what drives my passion to keep working on a project, even though it's 3 a.m. and I haven't slept in 2 days, but that's okay.
Do you have any groupies? Has there any been crazy Untapped followers?
Well, I will say this. One time I was at a beer festival, and my father-in-law was actually helping me with the festival. Also when you're only a 2-man team and one person's on the East Coast, on the West Coast, a lot of times you ask for a lot of help when we do marketing events like beer festivals and events. So my father-in-law is with me, and the first 2 people that come up to the booth are these 2 girls. And I'm like, this is not going to be good at all whatsoever. So they come up to the booth and they say, you mind if I take a picture with you? And I was like, both of you guys? And they're, yeah, both of us. And I turned to my father-in-law, I'm like, can you take a picture of me with these 2 girls? And, he's like, all right, I won't tell your wife about this one. It's all good. And so, it's a fun experience with those things all together. And I think it makes it for a hell of a lot of interesting stories, to say the least. But, when it comes down to it, I'm just a normal guy just like anybody else. So, I tend to not try to, a lot of times when I'm at the bar and I see someone checking in on taps, I'm not going to be the guy taps on your shoulder and goes, yeah, I built that, man. I built that.
Yeah.
It's not really mine.
Right, you got to be humble about it. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I'm very humble when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's clearly it's an app, and there's I'm sure a bit of a business side to it and opportunities in it. But what have you noticed as it's grown? What's one of the biggest challenges that you've seen throughout the years of viewing that maybe you didn't see at the beginning?
I think the biggest challenge right now is just time. I think when we first started, we were able to kind of progress with the app at the pace that we wanted to in terms of we're going to develop a feature or put an update out in 6 months, and that'll be acceptable. But now everyone's really hypersensitive to those things, and they obviously drive your passion to keep working on the project, but they also really want you to build features faster and faster. So ultimately, if we were working on this full time or we were, funded by everyone in the world, that would be a lot easier. But because we're only a 2-man operation and part-time, these changes take a little bit of time. So we really have to focus really hard to get a good quality product out there. And really didn't have to worry about when we first started out because, again, we didn't have the user base that we do have today. So it's just time management, being able to manage your time well and being able to provide a quality product in an accessible time frame for users. That is the most troubling thing for us now.
Sure.
I would imagine if I was created an app, I would constantly be thinking of how to keep it fresh, keep it trending, or keep it trendy, revamping it, changing it to make it easier, adding new features.
I push new features out to the site pretty much daily.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of back-end changes that you probably wouldn't see from any type of regular usage, but we're always tweaking things and always trying to find new things. We've been developing something that we're calling the beer predictive drinking method.
Oh.
Basically, from the data that we're actually generating, we're trying to find an algorithm to determine what is your next beer if you have beer A. So say, for example, you have a Blue Point from Long Island, and then you say, what's your next beer after that? Based on your current location. So those are the fun stuff for me, to be able to say, hey, 90% chance you're going to have this beer followed by this beer and followed by a trip home or something like that. So, so that's something really cool that we, every day we're trying to tweak these things and make it fresh.
I'd love to see Kieran's. It would just say, all right, we know you're going to have another Coors Light. Okay, it's another Coors Light. We get it. It'll just be.
You're going to have 8 Coors Lights today. And end up having sex with your ex-girlfriend.
So, another thing I find kind of interesting is the Beer Week badges.
Yes.
How do you guys set that up? Do you contact the coordinators? Do they contact you? Is it a little bit of both? Like, do you guys pick? Yeah.
Most of the time, the coordinators actually will contact us. One of the things that really sucks is that because we're only a 2-man operation, we just don't have the resources to go out there and tell every single Beer Week about our opportunities and the badges and whatnot. And we're lucky to have a very passionate user group that actually will kind of tell their organizers that, hey, this is what we want, one on tap badge, and then they'll contact us. And that's most of the time how it happens. And obviously, the Beer Week badges are sponsored by them, and it promotes all the Beer Weeks at venues and activities happening throughout the week. But we just seen some really good, type of events that have happened because of that, because basically, it's a great way to kind of encourage people to attend multiple events throughout the week. We heard a lot of time from Beer Weeks throughout the country when they have a Beer Week, that first event is like the most popular one, and then no one goes to any other events throughout the week because it's a big opening bash or what have you. When these Beer Weeks kind of encourage you to go to different events on different days and really explore the whole Beer Week. So that's kind of how it all works in a nutshell. Is that we usually get reached out to them and then talk about what their kind of goals are for the Beer Week, and then we can see if we can get a badge for them.
Nice.
I gotta imagine the business opportunities that you get thrown, are sort of interesting.
And I think with that avenue, I think the badge system is very cool and it's very niche, and people love earning these badges. But in all honesty, I think that what we're building here is ultimately a tool to help educate beer drinkers about what beer they like based on your friends' tastes and reviews and your tastes and reviews. I think that data, to me, is very valuable to be able to help consumers and also breweries figure out where to go next. I mean, there are a lot of people that pay a lot of money for focus groups around the U.S. For people drinking beer and telling them how it is. I think with Untappd, we provide a little bit better view on that in real time of what people are checking in and what they think of it. So hoping in the future that's what it becomes. But I think for now we're just trying to collect enough data as we can and help make the best decisions out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've always considered myself a beer enthusiast, and when I found this app, I didn't even scratch the surface how many different beers and the types. And I was saying in the last segment, what's such a cool side to this app, outside of just the endless information and the socializing via the app, was I was with my girlfriend in Florida, and a couple of her friends had the app, and it was like we immediately hit it off, and we had hours of conversation right there just because we both use the app. And there's like that sidebar thing that's it's just the intangible of such an app.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think again, beer is very social, right? We're all talking about it, we're all doing it in person, but you added a social app that's dedicated to that experience. It creates new conversations and makes it more interesting for everybody to get involved. I've heard numerous stories of people. Actually, here's a better story. I got invited to 3 weddings this past year, and they're all from Untappd users that I became really good friends with. And I think that's just the kind of community that beer drinkers are all about. Is that we're real, we're friendly, and it creates really good relationships and really good friendsits. So it's definitely true. I just got back to one last weekend. So
shit, I'm drinking a gluten-free beer because of. I was like, I didn't even think about that, and I was like, because of Untappd. And I saw that badge you recently released. Like, you know what? Let me give it a try. Let me see what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean, it opens your mind, right? I mean, I think that the best reviews are the ones from your friends, and through the activity feed, you can see these beers in real time. And because beer is distributed in different parts of the country, it gives you a great opportunity to scan and find new beers. Plus, with the badge system, allows you to get outside of your comfort zone and try beers you probably would never have tried before. I think that's a good benefit as well.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite beers?
So my favorite beer of all time is unfortunately not even available where I live, And the beer is called Pliny the Elder. It's a double IPA from a brewery called Russian River. They're located in Santa Rosa, California. They really only distribute in three states: California, Colorado, and Pennsylvania, only in Philadelphia. So, it's an amazing beer. It's one of those beers that you really have an aha moment when you drink it. It's most IPAs are very hoppy and have that bitterness in the back of your throat, and you kind of don't want to have any more after you have one. It's very smooth. You drink a lot of these things. Obviously, you get really messed up if you did that. I'm not condoning that type of activity whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
And, I think that's one of my favorite beers right now. Of course, it changes very frequently. There's some beers I've never even heard of before. The funny thing is, people always get a joke about when I tell it. I really wasn't even a beer when we built this application. I really didn't even like it. And I think the point is that when you're building this application, you're learning from it. I found what beers I liked, what beers I didn't like. And it kind of, if it works for me, it can work for a lot of people as well. And I've seen the transformation from individuals that, have drank, one beer their whole life, and then kind of pushed a beer that they never would have tried before because of a bad friend recommendation. And then they've completely switched over and they're trying all these different beers all around the world. So I think if it's a great application for someone just getting into beer too, trying to figure out what they like, what they don't like, and then, going from there and trying to figure out the next step for them. So, yeah, it's true. I really wasn't into beer, and neither was Tim. We were kind of just getting discovered of it, and that's what happened to the application.
Wow. See, that last description just got me completely interested in getting more interactive.
I want to see Kieran in about like 5 months drinking Belgian Trappist beers.
Because I'm a plain Jane when it comes to beer.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's either Miller Lite or Coors Light,
worst.
and I know I gotta expand my horizons.
I have plenty of beers here to try, Well, you have some of them. I actually, because of Untapped, I had 6 Points right around here, and I had no idea about the 6 Point Rad, so I gave it a try. And I would tell you that's a fucking unique beer, but and I gave one to Kieran, and he enjoyed it. It was different, but he definitely enjoyed it. So it was like there's another one of those like intangible things, like, hey, check this out. I found out about this beer. Why don't you try it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I think just getting outside your comfort zone and trying similar beers. I think nobody really wants to be that guy at the bar that's like looking at the list and be like, oh, what's good here? And then they're like, yeah, this beer is good. Oh, I don't like that beer. What about this beer? Oh, that's too dark for me. I think you got to take the equation out of it and, just literally, shoot from the hip and believe in recommendations, believe in the system that we have in terms of what we're recommending you, and, give it a shot. You might be surprising yourself. I think that's what happened with the Rad, for sure.
So one of the most interesting thing with the badges I found that you posted recently, so I was explaining to Kieran in the last segment about the unique beers list, from the beginning. But you recently added the Uber badge. Are people really getting to that point where they're having 10,000 unique beers?
Well, the funny story is that when we first launched, we only had about 25 badges in service. To this day, I think overall, with all the levels, we've done around 700 badges total. So the very first 25 badges we ever had, we thought the highest anybody would get was 50. So our highest level of unique beer was 50. You're like, okay, no one's going to drink more than 50 beers. That'll be fine. Right. We were completely wrong with that right off the bat. So that was a funny tale. And then from there, we built up to 2,500, which is the highest recently. And we knew we had to go to 5,000 because there are a lot of users that are actually in between that range. They were always asking for it. And we thought to ourselves, you know what? Why don't we just make it 10,000 now? We can save our email accounts from being bombarded in about a year from now about people asking for when the 10,000 was. So we just put it out there now. No one has got it yet. And if they do get it, I like to talk to them and see if they're still alive. I don't know if they will be. Not that I condone that activity, but I think that's something that I think a lot of people may have done that on other services. Maybe they've reviewed a lot on other beer sites, but no one's hit that just yet, so we'll have to see.
Just the logistics and the
a
cash value.
Hangovers.
That's a lot of hangovers.
That's a lot of hangovers.
I think a lot of people actually use the service for they go to a beer festival, they have a tasting event, or they go to they have flights, which are typically smaller pours of beers. That number can definitely be achieved by someone that's really into that type of drinking activity. I don't personally check in tasters or flights or whatnot. Just not really my style per se, but people actually do it on the service, and that's a good way they'll probably get up to that level for sure.
All right, so you're not condoning it, because I've been guilty on like a couple times, but it's more just so I remember it.
I get this question asked a lot. There's no untapped police. They don't exist.
Right.
So you can do whatever the hell you want. It's your account, right?
Yeah.
So I think, if you want to check in your tasters or your flights, you can definitely do that. There's no problem with that at all. It's really your account. I mean, we're not going to sit over here watching your shoulder and so
Yeah, someone's asking. It's an honesty policy, really, but I like it just to remember. It's because it's information, and that actually brings up the next thing. Again, we're talking to Greg Avola of Untappd, at Untappd, and you get it on iTunes and Android. Let's talk about the supporting Untappd, because we want to get people on it. We obviously want to get people to get the app, but also use it to its full extent. Can you explain what being a supporter does and what you get out of that?
Sure, yeah. Because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I mean, we are only a two-man operation. We do this part-time, and we pretty much burn midnight oil pretty much every single day to make the best app that we can. And, ultimately with a success like we've had before, with Untappd, it does cost a significant amount of money to run these servers, especially on a Friday and Saturday night where things are cranking at high volume. So we wanted to offer, people have always said to us, hey, we want to help you. We love the application. We want to donate money. We want to help the servers run. How can we help? And, we pitched around ideas of, doing a basic PayPal donation thing, but that really felt kind of cheesy to us. And I never wanted to slap like ads on the site all over the place for things like coffee makers or whatever Google kind of puts back at you. So I think for the supporter package, we said we're going to give you the opportunity to donate money on a subscription-based service. And, from that donation, you're now able to get some extra features in the application that may not have been available before. So one of them is you get an exclusive badge saying you're an Untappd supporter. You also get statistics on your beers. So you get a interactive map of all the check-ins you've had and where you've had them, as well as statistics on like how many new beers you have per 7 days, 30 days, month, year. Kind of more interactive stats help you kind of better see what kind of pattern you have in terms of what beer you like and where you have to go. And then finally, it gives you the opportunity, if you're really into data and you want to play around with your stuff in Excel or something, you can export all your data out to an Excel or what have you, and kind of do your own calculations and stuff like that. So we try to cater to everybody and help them get a little bit extra in terms of just donating money blindly. This was kind of the opportunity that came about, and it's been very successful. And without the support of our users with the supporter program, we really wouldn't be where we are today. So we're really, really appreciative to that, and hope that people take a look at that next time they're on Untappd and check it out.
Definitely, we'll definitely spread the word. And honestly, I had no idea it was just a two-man operation on your end.
Yeah.
And us being a two-man operation, I totally get. I mean, obviously, you guys are doing leaps and bounds more than us, but still, it's still a lot for us for what we're doing here. And
you understand completely. I mean, you pour your heart and soul into something that you love, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to make sacrifices, and you obviously prove a quality product and a quality show, and then. Unfortunately, you don't want to lather with ads. You want to be able to have that experience that's unique, and unfortunately, that stuff takes money. So that's really where it comes down to for me.
No, for sure. And after this conversation, I mean, you did us a solid coming on. I'm going to become a supporter. I had no idea it was just you two. So I want to officially be an Untappd supporter, and I'm going to definitely promote it that other people out there do that.
I'm all choked up over here.
No, man, it's a great story, and it's just cool. Like, I mean, you're just down to earth, nice guy. You're just making a fun app, and it eats up a lot of your time. You got you got a family, and you got a day job, and that's a lot, man. It's a lot.
I tell you what, Greg, you should do more radio interviews.
Yeah, seriously,
you're a pretty good listen, dude. I was listening to you. I was
Thank
just
you.
Yeah.
Well, I think what makes it unique is the story, like you mentioned, right? I mean, I think. We really are the grassroots application. So I think basically what it comes down to is, we are unique and we are trying to make the best app we can. I mean, I don't know how many times we've made a feature in Untappd because people requested it. I think 90% of everything we built on Untappd has been requested by users. I think we really believe in the users as number one priority for us. And if we keep that mentality and keep that openness with the user and the community, I think we'll do really well. I think that's the kind of message that we want to send to our users and also anyone who's thinking about building their own company as as whatever. You can do it. You just have to be able to be receptive to users and make them the number one priority, and that really makes a difference.
Yeah, we keep on getting that one request for good content, and we keep trying every week. We keep trying.
I told Rocket once I do a good radio show, I'm quitting. Still have 14 years into this thing, I haven't done a good one yet. But Greg, you're helping me out. Actually, you did a great job today.
Absolutely,
I'm doing my part
for sure, man. Yeah.
Well, we totally appreciate you coming on. Honestly,
yeah, man, this was great.
my pleasure. You know, I didn't know too much about you guys, and when you guys sent over an email to me, I followed up. I actually watched the preview show and spread the word to my family. I think my wife and in-laws are all listening now, so hopefully I didn't embarrass them too much.
Oh boy, I might have embarrassed them.
I'll find out in a little bit. But it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Greg. Thank you very much, and we'll continue to support and promote you guys, and certainly I'll be on there, and I see your posts, and I'll toast them as you have it on there. See, they don't do like on there, Karen. They do toast.
I like that.
You know, toasting is way cooler. I do have to say one thing, if you don't mind. I hate the shout out, but my sister-in-law listening, Megan, right now. I don't mention her name. She's going to be very upset. So I wanted to say hello, Megan. Hopefully that's okay with you guys.
Of course. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Megan. How are you?
Good.
There she is.
Cool.
Greg did a great job today.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Greg. This was great.
Thank
and
you.
Untapped @Untapped is on Twitter and obviously on Android and iPhone. Check it out. Untapped. UNTAPPD. Oh, you know what? What was the idea? Just to be a little silly. Drop the E.
Yeah, vowels aren't cool in internet companies, I guess. Except that we have a U and an A in there, so I guess we're kind of not the best example of that. Yeah, to be honest, Untapped with an E.com was taken, so we just said chop off the E and sounds better anyways.
I like it. It works, man. Greg, thanks again, man. Untapped @Untapped. Check them out, people. Greg, thank you very much, man.
Guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a good one.
There goes Greg Avola from Untapped.
Wow.
Co-founder. Tremendous listen, dude.
I feel like we could have asked him about like long division, and he would have been able to talk about it.
Why is he not doing more radio? He did it better than we do it. Great listen, dude.
Oh,
Very smart man too.
Cool,
wow.
man. Cool.
All right, want to do a break?
Yeah, let's do a break and try to do something better than that segment.
Yeah, Ronnie Beans has been trying to call.
Yeah,
in.
well,
He probably wants to talk about his vacation that he took to the celebrity hotspot
That's how we follow
out there in the desert. Yeah. So we'll take a break. We'll come back from lunaticradio.com show after this. By the way, if you want to donate, all right, here's the break.
This is Johnny Ballsack. You're listening to the Lunatic Radio Show featuring Josh Gogan, the bald-headed badass whose sarcastic quips cut like a switchblade to the throat. Rocket, the man with the lovable mutton chops who pulls in plenty of that sweet, sweet poontang. And finally, Kieran. He's gay,
Test one.
a real homosexual, a fudgebacker who prefers the company of men over women. Lunatic Radio, starring a tough guy, a lover, and a queer.
Hey, this is Jim Norton, and you're listening to lunaticradio.com. I just got a very nasty text from a Guinea I happen to know. Fine, do another show. I'm listening. That's Anthony Cumia.
Oh, there he
is listening to your radio program. So I hope you haven't badmouthed Anthony Cumia because he doesn't care for that. Well, I'm going tomorrow to Ant's house. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm going over there, and I imagine we'll be doing a live at the compound.
Nice.
He honestly has a great setup over there.
Oh my god, I know. Kieran and I watch it, and we're just like, "Fuck, man!"
I know.
The setup.
When we heard that Ant was doing this internet radio thing, and we took a